Have you ever pictured history as, just a bunch of dusty old facts, a story that's already finished, all about things that happened ages ago? Well, what if I told you that history is actually alive, that it's still changing, and that, in a really profound way, it's about you? I mean, just listen to this line from the historian Justo González. He's writing a book about the first 1,500 years of Christian history, and he calls it his autobiography. I mean, come on, that's got to make you pause, right? How on earth can a story that starts 2,000 years ago be about someone living today? That question, that's exactly what we're going to unpack together. And the answer, it turns out, reveals this completely different way of thinking about our relationship with the past and, honestly, with ourselves. Okay, let's dive right in. So González's wild claim, it's not just some clever line. No, it's rooted in this really deep idea about how we are fundamentally connected to everyone who came before us. And for him, it's a two-part thing. First, we are the direct heirs of this whole long story. I mean, whether we're aware of it or not, we've inherited the big ideas, the struggles, the breakthroughs of every generation before us. And second, something amazing happens when we study them. These figures, they stop being just names on a page. They actually become, well, companions on our own life's journey. I just love this picture painted by the philosopher José Ortega y Gasset. It just nails that first point, doesn't it? We are all part of this incredible human pyramid, held up by countless people we'll never ever meet. So to tell their story is, in a very real sense, to write the opening chapter of our own. And this idea builds to something even bigger. See, if history is personally connected to us right now, then that means the story can never truly be finished. And this is where we have to challenge that old school view of history as just a fixed set of facts locked away in a book. So here is the crucial idea. History isn't just what happened. It's a story we tell about what happened. And the way we tell it, the parts we decide to focus on, the questions we even think to ask, that is completely shaped by where we are standing, right here, right now. Just think about it for a second. When the Soviet Union fell, historians suddenly started asking all these new questions about how faith and politics mix. When the internet exploded, we started looking back at, say, the early church and wondering, how did their ideas go viral without any tech? And today, with the climate crisis on our minds, we're digging through the past looking for wisdom about how we relate to the planet. See? The past doesn't change, but our questions are always changing. And this leads us to the absolute core idea of this whole explainer. We need to start thinking of history not as some boring lecture, but as an active, living conversation happening across time. This chart just lays out the shift perfectly. The old view is totally passive, right? The past is fixed, history is a monologue, and our job is just to sit there and receive the facts. But the new view is so much more exciting. It's active. The past is always being reinterpreted because history is a dialogue, a back and forth, where we get to ask the questions. This quote from González just sums it all up. It's this fascinating dialogue, but here's the kicker. The past only answers the questions we think to ask it. And what we ask is totally driven by our modern concerns, our current struggles, and all our hopes for the future. Okay, so why does any of this actually matter to you right now in your daily life? Well, because this whole dialogue with history thing, it's not something you can just decide to sit out. You're already in the middle of it, whether you know it or not. Seriously, every time you share a political opinion or make a judgment about what's right and wrong, or even just celebrate a holiday, you are being shaped by centuries of conversation that happened long before you were born. The past is basically whispering in your ear all the time. González uses this amazing metaphor of tinted glasses. We all wear them. And these glasses, there are historical and cultural context, and they literally color everything we see. The trick isn't to take them off, we can't. The trick is to become aware that we're wearing them in the first place. Okay, let's make this super concrete. Think about a phrase like, Christ died for our sins. Seems simple enough, but the specific way that most of us in the West understand that idea was powerfully shaped by a theologian named Anselm, way back in the 11th century. So even if you've never heard his name, he helped make your glasses. He's metaphorically sitting right there with you. Or how about this one? For millions of people, that verse from the Bible is the absolute bedrock of their faith. But the incredible importance and meaning we give it today, that's largely because Martin Luther made it the rallying cry of the Protestant Reformation 500 years ago. He is a huge part of the lens through which you read that text. So becoming aware of your glasses is just so empowering. Why? Well, for one, it brings a little humility, right? It keeps you from thinking your way of seeing things is the only way. It also frees you from being blindly bound by tradition. You can actually question it. And that, in turn, empowers you to consciously choose which parts of the past you want to carry forward. And of course, all of this just helps you understand yourself so much better. And this all brings us to our final, and I think most powerful point. When you start to understand all this, your role completely changes. You're no longer just a student of history. You become an actor in history. Doing history, studying the past, and making history, shaping the future, they aren't two separate things, not at all. They are two sides of the very same coin. The way we choose to understand our past directly, powerfully informs the future we are trying to build. So we end up right back where we started, but now, hopefully, with a totally new perspective. You're not just some passive observer of this giant human pyramid. You're standing on it. You're wearing glasses tinted by centuries of debate. You're in a constant dialogue with the past. And knowing that, well, it's both an incredible opportunity and a huge responsibility. So the final question really isn't just, what does history mean? The real question is, what history will you make?